Hi everyone, it's Tish with Naptime Creations. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing these fun resin shaker charms, so let's jump in and get started. So I have my liquid diamonds resin mixed up here. I went ahead and mixed it up off camera just to save time because this video is kind of long, but it's full of great information, so be sure you watch it. If you want to see a tutorial on how to mix up your resin, I will link that down below in the description. It's really simple and easy, and I'm just going to go ahead and add my purple sparkle pigment from from Laura's Art Corner to my resin. This is just a little 3-ounce cup, and I filled it up about 2/3 of the way full with resin. And I'm just going to give this a good stir and make sure everything is nice and incorporated. And this pigment just melts right into the resin, so it's really easy to stir. It's a really pretty, gorgeous sparkly pigment, and I reuse my cups, so you can see the red on the side there. I had used red previously. You can do a resin pour, let the resin set up in the cup, and then reuse it over and over again. I do the same thing with my stir sticks. I just wipe them off with an alcohol rag after I'm done using them, and that way you're not wasting as many sticks. So here's my little molds. These are backed shaker molds I got off Etsy. I will link them down below in the description box. I have a little Care Bear here and then a little like milkshake. So I went ahead and, as you can see, just poured my resin into the molds. It doesn't take much to fill these molds. I would say probably 1 ounce each. And I'm just going in with the clear, scraping out my cup into the milkshake mold. So I covered them up, let them dry for 24 hours, and now we're ready to demold them. This little Care Bear got a piece of glitter on his nose. I do not know how I missed that. I was like, oh, well, it's okay because we're filling it with glitter anyway, so it worked out fine. And this little milkshake's so cute. I love this one. And the Care Bear's really cute too. So after you demold your little shaker charms after 24 hours, you're going to need to get some craft plastic. I picked this up off Amazon, and you're just going to want to cut a little square so you can basically, fit the craft plastic over the opening on your shaker charm. And then we're going to put the craft plastic on with UV resin and put that in my UV lamp, which you can see the pink lamp right over there in the corner. So I have my craft plastic set up here, and you just kind of want to trace around your charm, but this was my first time ever making these, so I shouldn't have done it this way. What I should have done is flip them over and actually place the craft plastic on top of the shaker charm opening, and that way it would have been a better fit, because you'll see here in a second these are too big. What I did was flip them over upside down and then cut them out with my scissors here, and see, I'm going to line it up and it's way too big. The opening is like, what? So I had to go over it with my Sharpie again and then cut off the little excess here. So what you should do is just put your shaker charm right side up and then trace over it with your Sharpie and then cut it to the size of your opening. So I'm going to do the same thing with the Care Bear here. Make sure it's a good fit, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. And the Sharpie comes off with rubbing alcohol and a paper towel, so no worries about that. You clean it off before you add your UV resin. And you could also use a dry erase marker. Those work too, but I just had a Sharpie on hand, so I used a Sharpie. So this is my little Rotary tool kit that I picked up from Harbor Freight. It was only $9.99, and I'm going to use this to drill a hole in the side of my shaker charm, so I will be able to fill it later with baby oil. So you just go in here on the side, just like that, drill a hole, super simple and easy. And then in the top of each mold or each shaker, you drill a little pilot hole, and then you'll install an eye hook, and that's how you attach it to a keychain. And after you do this step, you want to clean these out. So here I'm just drilling my little pilot hole, and then you can take your little pliers, your needle nose pliers, and screw in an eye hook. This is my jewelry making kit I got off of BB Craft. Make sure you guys check them out for all your crafting needs. This kit came with everything you need to make jewelry, and it has these eye hooks, it has tons of jump rings. So after your little pilot hole's drilled, you just take your pliers and screw that little eye hook in there. I did that outside just because I didn't want to make a bunch of resin, you know, stuff go flying into the air in my art room. I like to try to keep it as dust free as possible. So here I'm just going in with my alcohol, 91% isopropyl alcohol, cleaning off that craft plastic, and I'm going to fill these with my little star confettis. I also got these off BB Craft. They are so cute and pretty. I love them so much, and they're perfect for this project. If you haven't seen my BB Craft unboxing video, I'll link that down below. Check that out, and I go into more depth on what I got from them and show you prices and all that good stuff. So what I'm doing here, I'm just taking a little spoon and scooping out my little sequins and filling my little molds or my little charms with the sequins here. And you could fill these with anything you want. You could use beads, rhinestones. There's so many cute little things you can put in these. Like I said, this was my first time ever making these. So I just went ahead and used these confettis because they're so cute and pretty, and they really, really float around nice in the baby oil. And I'll show you guys how to fill them up and all that good stuff too here in a few minutes. So I was just trying to go through and pick out what color sequins I wanted to fill these guys with. So this is my UV resin. I got this off Amazon. It's UV hard resin, and it's really, really easy to use. You just basically take the applicator here and go around the opening of your little charm, and then you'll attach your craft plastic and put it in your UV lamp. The UV lamp I'm using is 120 watts, and each time I use the UV resin, I put it in there for 60 seconds. I am wearing my respirator mask. I always wear my respirator mask whenever I work with any type of resin, but this resin didn't have a smell at all. It has like a weird, kind of smells like sage, like the spice sage. It had a weird smell like that, but it wasn't like really, really strong smelling. I know a lot of UV resins smell really, really strong, and this one wasn't strong at all. I got it off Amazon. I'll link it down below in the description. So see, I'm just going around, and this is kind of like icing a cake. That's what it reminded me of. Like if you're writing, if you guys have ever decorated cakes, if you write happy birthday or something, that's what it reminded me of, because you kind of the applicator's not a really fine applicator, so you have to go slow so you don't spill a bunch all over the side. You have to really take your time and make sure you're getting it right in the right spot. So now I'm just taking a toothpick and making sure that craft plastic is really connected to my shaker charm here. I'm going to put it in my lamp for 60 seconds. Make sure that's all dry. I had a little bit of spillage on the side, so I was just cleaning that up before I put it in my lamp, because if you have drips running down the side of your charm, it's going to show when you bring it out of your lamp. So you want to make sure it's got a nice, clean, crisp edge. So I'm just hitting 60 seconds, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my little Care Bear. But I wanted to show you before, see my eye screw here? It went through the top of the Care Bear's head, and that's because it's not very thick. Like if you look at this mold, it's not thick at all compared to the milkshake. Like the milkshake, you have a ton of room. You can really screw that screw all the way in there. But this one, I had to go through it because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to fall off or anything like that. So I'm adding a drop of UV resin just to seal that screw to make sure the oil doesn't leak. And I'm going to pop that in my lamp for 60 seconds just to get that set in there. But see the top of this one, I screwed that screw all the way down into the milkshake. So if you guys make these, pay attention to that when you get your molds, because you don't want the Care Bear actually gave me a lot of trouble. Like this was my first time making these, and the shape is irregular, so cutting the craft plastic wasn't the easiest. The milkshake was a lot easier, so when you guys start making these, I would do an easy shape like a circle or a heart or a star or something like that, because if you look at the face of the Care Bear, it's got a bunch of like little ridges and stuff. And also make sure that it's nice and thick on the top of the mold, so you don't have problems with getting your eye screw or your bail or whatever you're going to use to attach your keychain with. And here I'm just going on the top of my milkshake around the top part of the screw just to make sure that that is nice and screwed in there as well. And I popped that in my lamp too. So now I'm ready. I filled up the Care Bear. I'm ready to go in with my UV resin and put the craft plastic on and pop it in my lamp. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but after I did the holes, after I drilled the holes on the side of the Care Bear with my little hand tool, I washed them out with warm water and then made sure they were nice and dry, because you are going to get resin particles and little, dusties inside your charm, and you don't want that in there when you fill it. So I'm going to be using these precision tip applicators and baby oil to fill my shaker charms. What we're going to do is just find the little hole, and that's not the right one. Go right inside, and then you just squeeze your oil in. Super simple and easy to fill them, and it's actually oddly satisfying to watch the little glitter and confetti start floating up there. These applicator bottles were the worst. I would not recommend these ones. The needle point was super small and it started leaking oil everywhere. I was like, what is going on with this? So I kept having to stop what I was doing, clean off the oil, go back in, and then fill it some more. It took me a while to get these guys filled up. It was leaking at the metal part of the applicator. It was just like poorly made, I think. So I'll link some better precision tip bottles down in my description. You don't want to get the ones that I used. But like I had said, I'd never made these before, so I was like, oh, no problem, these will work just fine. No, they were not good for this. The oil was just leaking everywhere. So I was like, oh man. And you can see my gloves, they're like all oily. I was like, oh man, hopefully the UV resin still works. And it did. All you have to do is just take some 91% isopropyl alcohol and just really clean the oil off, and then you'll have no problems. I had no problems, and I'm telling you guys, oil was spilling everywhere. You can even see it on my little tray. I was like, oh my gosh, these bottles are the worst. But like I said, I'll link some better bottles down in the description below. I picked these ones off Amazon because they were cheap, to be honest, so you get what you pay for, right? So here I'm going in with a little drop of UV resin to seal up the hole. And I'm placing it facing up. I didn't lay it down on its back for this step just because I wanted to make sure that hole that we drilled was nice and sealed. Put both of them in my lamp for 60 seconds, and now we're going to dome them. So here's my Clearcast resin. I am measuring this out on a digital scale. This is Clearcast 7000. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm going in with my part B, and then I'm going to go in with my part A. Part A is a lot thicker, so you want to pour that in second, and then I'll mix it up for 5 minutes and we'll be ready to do some doming. You don't need very much resin for this step. I was making a big pot because I was working on coasters at the same time, and you'll see those here in a few minutes. So just stir it up for 5 minutes and then you'll be good to go. I poured it in a little 3-ounce cup here. I poured my clear in. And I'm just going to pour some resin on. And I actually added too much. You don't even need this much. And I should have done one at a time. I shouldn't have poured it on the milkshake. I should have done my Care Bear and then poured it on the milkshake, because you can see it's going to start running off the milkshake here in a second. So what you do is just bring it almost to the edge, like right up just about to the edge, and then it will set up and be a nice, beautiful, flawless dome on top of your little charm here. See, I'm just pushing it right up to the edge. Now check out my milkshake. It's starting to run all over. I was like, no, that's not what you want, because once it breaks that edge, it's going to keep on running. So what I had to do on this one was just really babysit it and watch it until the resin stopped running off. If you have a problem, you can always sand it off, but I just kept my eye on it and I didn't have too much difficulty, which was nice. Just made sure, once it stopped running, just clean it off and then put it away to dry for 24 hours. So I'm going to go in with my jump rings from my jewelry making kit from BB Craft and some keychains, and take my 2 little pliers here, attach that to my charm, and that's as easy as it, this step's really super simple and easy. I also have some little tassels here I'm going to attach with my jump rings. You can get the tassels off of BB Craft, the jump rings, the keychains, all this stuff you can get off of BB Craft. I'll link everything down below in the description box for them. And here they are, all finished. They turned out really fun. This is a really fun project. I've wanted to make these for so long because I think the Care Bear is just honestly so cute. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope you learned something from it. This was definitely a learning experience for me. I learned a lot. But I'm definitely going to keep on making these. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this video and if you make shaker charms. And I'll link everything down below in the description if you guys want to check out the molds or anything that I used in the video. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys and seeing your questions and comments. This one turned out really fun. I kind of like this one too. I like them both. They're both really cute. I have a bunch more of these in the making. I'm going to get some more beads and stuff like that to fill them with, because you can really fill them with anything, honestly. They're just so, like, the possibilities are endless. You can get real creative with it. And yeah, that's about it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you so much. If you liked it, leave me a like or go check out a few more of my other videos or even a playlist. Thanks again, guys. Bye.